Hey everybody, Leiv Klaus here, and I wanted to show you guys some tips about Praxis ratting in Quirius. This fit I have is cheap. It's about 300 million ISK, and the Praxis right now is about 185 million on market, so that's pretty cheap. As far as battleships are concerned, I'll show you guys my fit real quick here. In the highs, I have Arbalest cruise missile launchers with Caldari Navy Beyond Air cruise missiles, and one drone link Augmentor II. I have an Omnidirectional tracking link 2, optimal range script for the Imperial Navy Curator drones. Those are the Sentry drones I'm using. One large cat battery, Cap Recharger 2, a shield boost amplifier, a warp scram for those just in case moments, you never know, and a large shield booster. Below, they got damage control 2, Capacitor power relay 2, 2 drone damage amplifiers, and 3 ballistic control systems. And I got 2 fitting rigs and a thermal shield reinforcer. This fit is cap stable, so that's awesome. It gets about 904 DPS with my skills. I do not have Tech 2 cruise missile skills, but Tech 2 cruise missile skills, I think you can probably get well over 1,000 with Fury. I don't have that, and I also don't have Tech 2 not cruise missiles, Sentry drones, so I'm just using the faction variant. And I still get pretty solid ticks of around 20 million. Okay, we're gonna undock here. And those are 20 million ticks for business right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to warp to 70 to the Haven.
Warp drive active.
The range on my cruise missiles is 133 kilometers. That's a lot further than my lock range. My lock range is only, let's see here. Oh, 87 kilometers, not very far. My drone range is 78 kilometers. So about 70 kilometers is about as far off the site you want to be. That allows me to permatank anything as long as I prioritize my targets right. So as soon as I land, I'm going to deploy my sentry drones. Let's go. Okay. Now the Corpus Popes, those have beam lasers, so they can apply damage to you right off the bat. It's pretty negligible, but I usually shoot those first. Just because of that. Now, cruise missiles have such a slow rate of fire that it's really easy to shoot more missile salvos than you need to. So I'll show you. But when I see the battleship start dropping in a structure, that's when I turn off my missile launchers, and that usually winds up being about 4 or 5 shots. Okay, I'm uncycling my guns, and I'm going to switch the drones over to the next one because the last hit will take that out. The faction cruise missiles are pretty expensive, so for plebes like me, try not to waste shots. Next, I'm going to hit these the battle cruisers because they're getting in close. You don't want to let the rats get in too close because then your sentry drones won't track. all you need for the battle cruisers is a couple shots from the drones and one salvo from the cruise missiles. Just like that. Expensive ships to use that you can get better ticks in, such as a Marauder, like a Paladin. Paladin's pretty optimal for ratting various while making it damage type. But a good Paladin fit costs around 3 billion, and I've lost a Paladin to neutrals, and that's not very fun. And my Paladin will give about 35 mil ticks, which is pretty stinking good. But this Praxis gets me 20 mil ticks, and I can fit 10 of these Praxises for the cost of the Paladin. So, for being a 300 mil fit, it does pretty good. Now, you want to target the frigates first with your sentry drones, because if they get on top of you, your cruise missiles don't apply well to them, and your sentry drones won't hit them at all. Now, you can pull your sentry drones in and launch light fighters, or light drones if you wanted to, but that's just time wasted. And your sentry drones at range pretty much just pop the frigates. Now, if you want to maximize your ISK, I always drop a mobile tractor unit to get all the loot and salvage. That's a big part of my income. So I'm just going to save the location so I can come back for it in my Noctis later. Save. But one thing you do want to be careful of is dropping your MTU before you finish the site. I mean, it does make it faster, because I like running 3 sites, coming back to pick up all my mobile tractor units and doing that all in one shot. That's about the cargo capacity of my Noctis. But the one risk to having your mobile tractor unit on site while you're still ratting is that if you get dropped on, even though you're able to warp off, they will usually shoot your MTU, and that really sucks, because that's 10 million lost right there, plus whatever loot it's picked up. So the safer bet is to drop it once you're done with the site, because the site despawns. But with my skills, I got decent drone skills, but the optimal range with the tracking link running is 60k on the sentries, and fall off out to 75. So around 60, 50, and 60 kilometers is about where you want to be for your sentries. Now this is the second to last spawn on the Havens. Easy to tell because you get elite cruiser spawn, and it's not too difficult. About 2 shots from the cruise missiles into the cruisers do the job. You don't really need to do more than 2, otherwise you're just wasting ammo. Now, the last wave is the biggest wave of the site, and you want to be good with your target prioritizing your targets, because if you're not watching, some of the battleships and the battle cruisers can get right on top of you if you're focusing on the targets that are far away. And once they're right on top of you, you'll have to warp off, because the tank on this fit is not able to hold up to sustained DPS up close. And also, if they're up close, your sentries won't track with the darn. Also, the last wave is where you have a chance of getting either a faction spawn, a dark blood spawn, they'll usually drop a dark blood loot of some sort, and possibly the blood dreadnought. You want to be careful with the blood dreadnought, because he will blab your battleship quickly, I've had that happen. But if you notice him right away, you get plenty of time to warp off with 3 locks. Looking at intel here, Shive claims in plus 150 bombers. But that sounds just plain wonderful. Let's hope they don't come this way. No Dark Blood spawns. That sucks. But no Dreadnought spawns either, so that's okay. Target some pumps first. Because they apply damage right off the bat. Get some of the DPS on the field. Wave. Gonna take one more popes off field. Then I'll start shooting the Patriarchs, the brawling battleship, and they'll try to get right on top of it. Also, the battle cruisers, they just try to get right on top of it as well. As you can see, my tank's hardly stressed at all, but it is dropping lower than it has during any other portion of the site. So you just want to be mindful of that. Make sure you're not letting anything get too close. One round of cruise missiles in each battle cruiser. I actually warped in a little closer than I usually do, just from the angle I warped in at. Because if you're warping at 70, the distance you land depends on which angle you warp from. There's not really any way to tell ahead of time. Yeah, so I absolutely love this fit. I can't believe it. I've ratted the Dami, I've ratted the Paladin, I've ratted Ishtar, and so far, this fit has been just the most efficient. You know, this says 205, but that's not right. bit more than that because Praxis are about 200 million on the market right now, so it's got to be more than that. This guy. The biggest benefit to Ishtar ratting is it's semi-AFK. You just kind of set your drones out, set them to aggressive, and go. But I enjoy playing the game, so I don't mind that this is a bit more click intensive than ratting an Ishtar would be. And in all reality, it's about the same price as an Ishtar, and for me, it gives better ticks. About 20 mil for it says payout. Since this fit is so cheap, I like to rat in systems that have a high bounty risk modifier. Like this is at 198% bounty risk modifier. I mean, that's pretty stinking good. That's like I'm making double money, but also means it's more dangerous. But since the Praxis is so cheap, it's in my mind it's worth it. This is a Haven. They have a chance of dropping the 10 out of 10 escalations. I usually don't run those, but the Forsaken Rally points, you can run those much the same way with this same fit. You know, warp in at 70 and just go to town. And those will drop 8 out of 10s, which I do like to run, and drop pretty good loot. They're quite a bit easier than 10 out of 10s. Battleship. We'll be done. Pretty easy and pretty good money. One site for me after the bounties and the ESS payout, that winds up being about, both those together, about 35-40 million. And in loot and salvage, I get about another 25-30 million. So let me see, that's like 70 million a site for me. Pretty good. I don't always get that much in loot and salvage, but sometimes it's just good. And plus, if you get a faction drop, then it's really good. Okay, recall drones. The site's done. And yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead.